Happy morning, happy afternoon, and happy evening to my Nanbas and Nanbis. This video is not about the movie Matrix, but like the movie, they will give the blue pill and green pill in your exam. The examiner is going to pick a pill and give it to you out of these 9 matrices, guys. So in this video, what I've done is I've collated all the matrices from each of the chapters, from all the 5 chapters. I've collated all the matrices, and we will quickly revise all the concepts, the pointers which is there inside the matrix, and also alternative names if there is any for each of the matrix. If you already know the matrix, please do it like a tick mark activity and keep marching forward. And if you don't know the matrix, I don't want you to panic, guys. I want you to have the mindset that at least now I am able to study this, so if they ask in the exam, I will be able to get the full marks. I want you to have that mindset and keep marching forward. You can expect a question either in MCQ or in descriptive from these 9 matrices. So let's go inside the subject, guys. The first one is the strategic risk matrix. Now before I go into the matrix, I want you to do 2 things. For every matrix, I want you to write how many rows and how many columns. So strategic risk matrix, you are going to write 2 by 2, and what is there in the x-axis and what is there in the y-axis. In the x-axis, you're going to write time, and y-axis you're going to write strategic risk. Now under time, they have short time and long term. Strategic risk, they have external and internal. What is this external strategic risk, ma'am? What is this internal strategic risk, ma'am? External strategic risk means they have formulated a strategy, but it is not consistent with the changes which is happening in the environment. The environment is external to the organization, so that is the external strategic risk. What is internal strategic risk? Internal means something which happened inside the organization. That means on a routine basis, you are interacting with somebody, that is giving me a risk. That is the strategic risk at the internal levels, guys. Now with this matrix, they're talking about strategic risk on one side and time on the other side. Now coming to the external strategic risk, what are they saying with long time? There is a problem with the inconsistency in the external environment. Then there are so many changes which is happening in the environment, which is leading to obsolescence of the strategy, because long time there is a risk, means that means the strategy itself is a waste of time only. Short time, there is some problem. That means in the short time there is some problem. There is a risk with that. There is inconsistency with the environment. Means you have not understood the environment properly. Errors in interpreting the environment will happen. Internal, I told you something which is happening inside the organization. Internal strategic risk, if it is there in the short time, that means organization is not working at the fullest capacity. If there is an internal strategic risk for a long time, if it happens, anything for a long time, if it happens, it is not good. So here there are inconsistencies with the strategies, and this also is a waste of time only. Now this is the first matrix. I hope you've written 2 by 2 and what is there in x-axis and what is there in y-axis. The second one is the Mendelow's matrix. Mendelow's matrix is also called as what, guys? It is called the power index matrix. Here also again 2 by 2. In the x-axis you're going to write interest in the organization, and y-axis you're going to write power. Now here what are they saying? Who has the highest power and highest interest in the organization? They are called as key players. That means they can be shareholders, board of directors, CEO, CFO, all the white collared employees. They are the key players who have the highest power and highest interest in the organization. What will they do? They are involved in the decision making. They will say what is the goal. They will say what are the resources to be used. They are the main people. So please take them as the key player. Now if they have high power but they are not much interested, like your banker, government has high power, but are they really interested in the affairs of the company? No. And customers also, keep them satisfied. How are you going to keep them satisfied? Please consult with them on a timely basis, otherwise they are going to be a hindrance for your strategic choices. Who are these low priority people? They don't have power and also they are not interested. All these media people, business magazines and all, no need to engage with them. You can just generally occasional communication if you have more than enough, and just monitor as to what they are writing about you. Other than that, you don't have to disturb them. Who are these keep informed people? They have so much of interest in the organization but very less power. So they have lots of interest, so just inform them as to what is happening. For example, the employees, vendors, all of these are keep informed people. I hope you've written 2 by 2 and what is there in x-axis and what is there in y-axis. The third one is talking about the strategic group mapping. This is the only matrix which has 3 elements, guys. 3 elements. Why am I saying this? Here you can see the Range of products. Here you can see the reputation among consumers, but please read this line. They have drawn the circle in different sizes. That says something about the circle. What they have done is, it is proportional to the size of the group's respective share of total industry sales revenue. That means their market share which they have drawn the circle. So here x-axis, y-axis, and also the size of the circle matters. In the x-axis there is range of products, y-axis there is reputation amongst the consumers, and the size says how much market share is there for the company. Now here this PQR has a huge market share. There are lots of products, but the reputation is not so much. If you see GHI, highest reputation they have, products not as much as PQR, and round also is pretty big. So GHI is the best option. ABC, if you see, ABC also is one of the highest reputation, but range of products is very less. Does not matter. They have high reputation. DEF, if you see, they have not much of range of products, but decent level of reputation they have. Like that, you can see with the size of the round and with the x-axis and y-axis. This is the strategic group mapping, the only matrix with 3 elements with it. The next one is the generic strategies by Michael Porter. Generic strategies by Michael Porter nu sonnale, what you have to think is, what is it? Cost leadership, differentiation, and whether it is focused or not. Now this is also a 2x2 matrix. Now in the x-axis they are going to talk about competitive advantage, and in the y-axis they are talking about competitive scope. Scope means who are they targeting, narrow target or broad target. Competitive advantage means how are they beating the competition by reducing their prices or having a differentiated product. So low cost product is reducing the cost or prices, and here differentiated product is very different. So now in this axis, just see, whenever there is a narrow target, they are focusing on a very narrow target. If it is narrow target, it is always focused. Now, you will have to see whether it is focused cost leadership or focused differentiation. When will it be focused cost leadership? When there is low cost, it will be focused cost leadership. If it is differentiated products, it will be focused differentiation. So remember, if it is narrow, it is focused. If it is low cost, it is cost leadership. Narrow, it is focused. If it is differentiation, it is focused differentiation. Now, broad target is very easy. Now you're going to see if it is low cost or differentiated. Low cost means cost leadership. Differentiated means differentiation. I hope again you've written what 2x2 and what is there next axis and what is there in the y-axis, guys. The fifth one is the Ansof's product market growth matrix. Now in the Ansof's product market growth matrix, again it is a 2x2 matrix. On x-axis they are talking about products, whether it is existing product or a new product, and in the y-axis it's talking about markets, whether it is existing market or new markets. What are they telling here? If it is an existing product in the existing market, the example they have taken is Gucci, guys. Gucci is a luxury clothing brand where they sell the clothes for 1 lakh, bags for 1.5 lakhs, built for 50,000. Very high luxury, very high prices also. Now with that example, all the 4 matrices, you will be able to do it. Gucci, a luxury clothing brand selling its luxury clothing in the European market. Gucci is from Europe only. Here with new designs they are doing. If it is new design already in Europe, so existing market, same product only, they are just changing the design, so it is market penetration. Now if they are going to change their strategy to Chinese market, now if they are doing a market development, they are moving to a different market, so this is market development where they are selling the existing products to the new market. The third example is talking about, now till now they are selling only luxury clothing, now suddenly they want to move to casual clothing also, streetwear and all of those things, casual clothing, but in the same European market. So here existing market but new product, casual clothing, so it is called as product development. If both they are going to China, they are going with streetwear, then that is called as new market, new product, which is diversification. So if you just remember that it is a 2x2 matrix, and on x-axis products whether existing or new, y-axis it is market whether existing or new, easily you will be able to write whether it is penetration in by way of market or product, and then product development, market development, and then diversification. The next matrix is the Arthur D. Little matrix. We are here, guys, in the sixth one. Arthur D. Little, also known as ADL matrix. ADL matrix is talking about the product life cycle. Basically, the introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. The introduction is given here as embryonic stage. This is there. The product life cycle is there in the x-axis. What is there in the y-axis is the competitive position of that company. Whether the position is weak or tolerable, that is tolerable, favorable but not very strong. This is strong and dominant. Dominant means it is a monopoly or one big player and all the others are small players. So if it is dominant, doesn't matter whether they are embryonic growth, maturity or aging. Please go for green, 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 green. Whenever it is green, you will be focusing on fast growth and you will be acting offensively. You will be renewing and you will do all of the things to make your market share better and better. So dominant means always it is green, green, green and green. Whenever you move to red, remember that you have to in the middle go to yellow or orange, then only go to red. Directly from green you cannot jump to red. Now coming to the last one, weak. They are completely weak here. The competitive position is weak. Now whatever stage they are in, it has to be red only. So everything is red, but here there is a orange. I told you before going to red, for some time they have to stay in orange because they'll be trying to find their niche. They'll be trying to grow with the industry and all, and then only they'll go for retrenchment strategies and then they will withdraw. So here in the weak section there is reds, but before going to red there is orange. Now if you fill the first one and the last one, others are very, very easy, guys. Now they are strong. In the embryonic stage, no problem, you can keep going, it is green. Growth stage, no problem. Maturity stage, growth, no problem, it is green. But aging stage, now they are declining. Here it has to be red, but I told you for some time it has to stay in orange. They will be trying to find their niche and then only it moves to red. So in the second row, everything is green except for the last one, which is orange. Now it is just favorable, but it is not strong. So here it is green and green, and then in the maturity itself it becomes orange and then goes to red. If you see in this graph, guys, the first one is fully green, the last one is fully red, and slowly the green keeps reducing and the red keeps increasing as and when the competitive position keeps reducing. So please remember what is there in x-axis, what is there in y-axis, and what is the matrix. There is 4 here and 5 here, so it is a 4 by 5 matrix. This is called as, I hope you remember, it is Arthur D. Little or ADL matrix, guys. The next one is called as Boston Consulting Group matrix or the growth share matrix. Again coming back to the 2 by 2 matrix, in the x-axis we have the growth share, y-axis we have the market growth rate. If it is growing continuously and market growth is also so high, if you see content creators, they are earning more than chartered accountants, guys. They are earning in lakhs and sometimes even crores. Mr. Beast and all earns in crores. So content creators market share is so high and the growth is also very, very high. They are called as TikTok stars, so superstars. So star means both are high. What is this question mark? Question mark means the growth is high but the market share is high but the growth of it is the market share is low and the growth is very, very high. For example, your VR technology and all, metaverse is quickly developing. The growth is very, very, very much there. But do they have an adequate market share? It is always a question mark. That's why it is called as question marks when the market share is low and the growth rate is high. The next one is called as cash cows. Cash cows means the market share is high and the growth rate is low. For example, if you see Google search, everybody is using Google search. They have a good market share, but are they growing year on year? No. Existing people only will be using that Google search. Same way for Microsoft MS Office. Existing people will be using, but they have the highest market share. This is where they can make a lot of money. It's called as cash cows, guys. The next one is called as dogs, where both are low. Market share is also low. Market growth rate is also low. Here your floppies, DVDs, landlines, where there is no growth and market share is also very, very negligible or even out of the market. Now here, this is a 2 by 2 matrix. X-axis has market share. Y-axis has market growth rate. Please remember, guys. The next one is called the General Electric matrix, also called as stop light strategy model. In this, on one side they have the market attractiveness, and on the other side they have the business strength. The same thing whatever I told you in the previous one, here this is a 3 by 3 matrix. If the market attractiveness is very high, business strength is also very very strong, then no doubt please invest and expand. If market attractiveness is very high and business strength is average, you can still invest and expand. It is green, but I told you before going to red, you have to stay in yellow or orange for some time and then only go to red. Here if you see market attractiveness medium and business strength also medium, here they have put yellow or orange because it is select and then earn. Then goes to red where they are talking about divestment and retrenchment strategy. So in this matrix, if you see, this is the yellow part. Please remember like this: green, yellow, red, yellow, red. The diagonally there is a yellow part which is going in this matrix. Now we are in the General Electric matrix or stop light strategy model. The last matrix is the relationship between strategy formulation and strategy implementation. Let me go to that. Now here if you see, what is important? Formulating a plan is important or implementing that plan is important. Let us see here. In your studies also you would have made so many plans, but did you implement that? That is always a question mark. Now with that, if you read this, you will definitely understand. I hope you already made note. This is a 2 by 2 matrix. On one side there is strategy formulation, and on the other side there is strategy implementation. Now if there is a sound formulation and sound implementation, formulation is effective and implementation is also efficient, then it is green. You can thrive. Now if the formulation is bad, ineffective, and the implementation is also inefficient, then there is no doubt you will be dying quickly. This is the die quickly part. Now, if your formulation is bad, but somehow you have implemented it, now here you are going to die slowly because formulation is very, very important, guys. Now, if you see this one, the formulation is very, very good, but they have not implemented it. Sometime in the future, they are going to implement it, so they will be able to survive in the market. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix. X-axis formulation, Y-axis implementation, and with this we are done with all the 9 matrices in SM. Now bonus, I want to talk about 2 graphs. Quick revision, let's do. The first one is called the product life cycle graph. On the x-axis there is time, and on the y-axis there is sales. The product life cycle, you know, introduction, growth, maturity and decline. Now with time, as time goes by, there is going to be an introduction stage, and then there is going to be a growth stage where sales is going to increase at increasing rate, and then at the maturity stage the sales is going to increase at a reducing rate, and in the decline stage the sale is going to reduce completely. This is the product life cycle. Please remember what is there in the x-axis and what is there in the y-axis. The next one is the experience curve. Always if you are experienced with something, then you become proficient in that. Same way, if you keep in the company also, if the production units keep on increasing, then your experience goes up and your cost per unit comes down. So the experience curve is basically like this, which keeps coming down, where here you increase the production unit and the cost per unit keeps reducing. At this level of production unit, your cost is so high, but if you see at this level of production unit, your cost has reduced to so much. This is the meaning of this graph. This is called as experience curve. I hope this video was useful for you. All the best for your strategic management exam, guys. This is the last exam. You have put in so many hours and months of hard work. Now is the time for you to ace your exams. All the very best, guys.